Good morning. It is early Wednesday morning and I'm about to go to work, but I wanted to stop in and talk about this weird ass little book that I'm reading right now. As I literally just mentioned, this is a lot weirder than I thought it was. It is a modern retelling of Vasilisa the Beautiful, which is a Russian folklore story. And this takes place in Brooklyn for no reason that I could figure out at all. I don't know if it's cultural appropriation, or the author just lives in Brooklyn and really likes Russian folk tales. I have no idea. I can't tell you why a Russian folklore retelling is taking place in Brooklyn, because it fairly closely sticks to the retelling except for the setting. And for those of you who don't know the story of Vasilisa the Beautiful, I will do my best to give you a small rendition of it right now off the top of my head. It starts out kind of similar to a Cinderella story where Vasilisa's mother dies and gives her a small wooden doll and tells her, if you feed the doll when in time of need, then it will help you. Her father remarries and she has two older stepsisters and the quintessential evil stepmother. And something happens to her father that he is gone. It's really weird in this book. But there's different tellings of what, like, some he dies, some he goes on a business trip, and the stepmother like runs off with all three girls. Doesn't matter. Father vanishes and Vasilisa is left with her stepmother and two stepsisters. And they turn out all of the lights in the house or blow out all the candles, dampen all the fires in the house, or in modern times just the light bulbs die. And they send her to Baba Yaga's hut, chicken hut, to get fire, which is basically a death sentence, right? And for those of you who aren't familiar with Baba Yaga, she's like an evil witch in Russian culture, and her hut has giant chicken legs, and you have to sing it a song, and it will like set down and you can enter the hut. That's just a fun bit of... I like that. But it exists in both the original story and the retelling randomly. And basically, Baba Yaga gives Vasilisa 3 tasks to do that are supposedly impossible, and if she doesn't do them, then Baba Yaga gets to eat her, and if she does do them, then she gets her fire and she's free to go. Kind of like Rumpelstiltskin, I guess, for those of us more familiar with Western tales. And the little wooden doll that her mother gave her when she passed basically does all the tasks for her, and she gets to leave and take the fire back to her stepmother and stepsisters. And of course, because it's a Russian fairy tale, and good endings are always scary as shit, the fire, which is contained in a skull, burns up her stepmother and stepsisters and kills them. And then she lives happily ever after and marries the Tsar of Russia. Now, I am not nearly that far in this book. So far of the story that we have in this book, all the light bulbs have burnt out in their house, and Vasilisa is sent to Baba Yaga's convenience store because it is the only one open at midnight when this is like when the light bulbs burn out, right? And also night is starting to last a lot longer. Like the clock works the same, but if you go to bed at midnight, you will wake up at 2 in the morning and feel like you've had 8 hours of sleep. And then you can stay up another 2 hours or another 3 hours, and you feel like you've been up an entire day, and then you go back to sleep, even though the clock says that you've only experienced a few minutes. Times the night is stretching into 3, 4, 5 days time, and it's just getting longer and longer and longer. So the light bulbs going out at midnight is actually a big deal, because they're gonna have to deal with it for like 4 days of dark. So one of Vessa's stepsisters likes her, the other one doesn't. And the stepsister who doesn't like her sends her to Baba Yaga's convenience store, which is still a convenience store on chicken legs, and she has to sing it a song to enter. And then it's well known that if you shoplift at Baba Yaga's convenience store, you will be killed. Or you'll be beheaded. That is the rules of the convenience store. Everybody knows it. And then, of course, there's ways that you were tricked into shoplifting when you enter the convenience store, so you could be beheaded, because that's what Babs Yaga does. She's also called Babs Yaga in here, which is really freaking annoying. And then Vasilisa, or Vasa, she's just Vasa in here, is almost caught shoplifting, but not really, because the item falls out of her pocket, so it's not in her pocket, so she can't be, and she didn't walk out of the store with it, so she's not shoplifting, but it looked like she was. So Babs says that you can work in my store for 3 nights. You've paid off your debt. And of course, everything is against her. Like, the first night, the cash gets up and walks out of the register. And Babs told her that if the cash isn't correct in the register, then she has not fulfilled her end of the agreement. And then of course the little wooden doll helps. But that's where I am right now at the end of the first night. I don't think I like it. I don't like the writing style so much. Maybe it gets better as it goes. Not super far. You can see right there. This is what I've read. This is what I have to read. I should be able to finish this tonight easily when I get home from work. Just for right now, I'm not super feeling it. It's probably going to be like a 3-star at this point, unless it gets considerably better. But I will talk to you after work. Hello, good morning. It's Thursday, and I am a little bit more into Vasa in the Night, but not a whole lot. Yesterday was not fun. The news that Trump has canceled travel from the EU is greatly affecting my current job. So I was up very late dealing with that instead of reading. I did finally figure out exactly what I was having problems with in this story, and it's the world building aspect of it, where the magic system is supposed to be given to you at like face value, and it just exists in the world and everybody knows about it and everybody accepts it, whatever. It's just part of the universe. But then no one knows anything about the magic system, and there's all this like weird stuff that you would think if you grew up with this your entire life, then you would know would happen to you. It would be like, I'm trying to think of a good example. It's like growing up in England and it's been raining every single day for your entire life. And you're like 15 and you go outside and it's raining and you're like, what is this and why am I wet? Or why is the rain making me wet? You know what it is. It's rain. But why is it suddenly making you wet? It's like, that doesn't make any sense. But that's how the magic works in this book, where it's supposedly something commonplace, but then everybody seems to be confused when they actually have to deal with it, which supposedly they've done their entire lives. It's really weird. And it's pulling me out of the story badly. So I think that's why I don't like the story. Like the background story, when I can ignore the fact that the magic system and the world building doesn't make any sense at all, it's a cute little fairy tale story. And I love Russian folklore. It still doesn't explain why it's in Brooklyn and doesn't give any account that everything in Brooklyn is Russian folklore, or everything in this version of Brooklyn is Russian folklore. Like there's no mention of all of the things that they're dealing, or all of the magic that they're commonplace is like well-known Russian folklore. It's like, you're in modern day Brooklyn, but you forgot everything about history ever. Or it just didn't exist in history. I don't know. Like I said, world building is really, really, really badly explained in this story. So, I've said so a bunch. But yeah, I'm gonna go to work now, and hopefully today will be less of a nightmare and I can finish this when I get home.